the way back. Days are definitely going shorter. Many orchids here will have to go inside the house, but not just yet because weather is still so very pleasant outside. So far only my tiny twinkles were moved inside the house because they are starting to grow spikes, and I believe the buds will bloom better if they get acclimatized to the house from the very beginning while they are still forming. Also, they like it cooler, and they did very well last year at the windowsill. However, the Paphiopedilum, the Phalaenopsis, the Cattleyas, and a few other warm growers I have are still enjoying the nice temperatures. The temperature outside today is 31 Celsius, which is about 88 Fahrenheit, whereas inside the house I have 23 Celsius, which corresponds to about 73 Fahrenheit. At night, the outside temperatures drop to about 14 Celsius, which is about 57 Fahrenheit, which is still acceptable, and they say a drop in temperatures is beneficial to orchids, so they are not complaining so far. Anyway, I have a few orchids that I hope I can leave outside throughout the winter, namely Dendrobium. I do not get any frosts around my area, and besides they are under the tiled roof. The minimum temperatures we got last year, and that was one of the coldest winters I remember since I came to live here, was 4 Celsius, which is about 39.2 Fahrenheit. So I'm counting on leaving them here, although I will have to be very careful. Apart from giving them a chill, I'm not planning on going hard on these Dendrobiums in what concerns water restriction, mostly. For starters, I'm not very experienced with winter rest, so I need to go easy. For me, the plants are always the most important, as without them there are no blooms. Besides, not all of these Dendrobium are ready and mature enough to get a proper winter rest. But let's see how they are doing at this stage. This is Dendrobium crocatum. It's a species from Malaysia. The flowers are golden orange with a darker orange gold labellum. This is one I need to observe because it's new to me. I only bought him in the summer. It had these two canes and none other grew for me. But these two continued to grow after I got it, and this smaller one is still growing one leaf. Resting period is necessary, but it's a bit confusing to me yet. Apparently, water needs to be reduced when the canes are mature, allowing the plants to dry until they drop their leaves. The canes should wrinkle a bit, which will initiate flowering. Some articles I read say it will bloom in spring, others that it will bloom in the fall. I understand that it definitely needs a rest to trigger the blooms, but this rest might not really coincide with a cold winter, and it has more to do with water restriction than with low temperatures. All in all, I know I should be careful with temperatures and bring it inside if they go below 10 Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit. This is Dendrobium aggregatum. This is a species I bought just a few days ago, and I was told its flowering size. It's a warm to intermediate grower, but apparently this orchid is open to a variety of different situations, as long as it gets plenty of light, water, and a good winter rest. I already have in my notes that I should bring it inside at night if temperatures get below 8 Celsius, which is around 46 Fahrenheit. This is Dendrobium unicum. It's a miniature orchid, that's why it's so small. And I got it this summer. It is not a very vigorous plant. It had 2 canes when I got it. They looked dead, both of them. But one was thrown away, but this one managed to push this growth and generate new roots that attached to the bark. It doesn't look bad. It's still growing. There is still one leaf. It's not going to get a winter rest, obviously. I want the plant to get stronger. It will remain here while temperatures are not too bad, and will go inside if it gets real cold. Let's see, maybe it will push out new growths next year. This is Dendrobium stardust Xiaomi. It is a complex hybrid, which is usually sold as a nobly type. But in fact it has only 12.5% nobile in his parentage. Among other parents there is Unicum with 50%, therefore being the dominant species in its genes. The other Dendrobium that participated in the crossings are also of cold climates. Once I understood what this plant is, it was much easier to take care of it, and I suppose it's doing fine. 3 new canes grew longer during the summer. This plant is known as a keiki machine, and it grew 2 keikis, which grew fast, and which I have separated and placed near the mother's roots, and they are doing just fine. They just put their terminal leaf out, and recently the plant pushed a new growth, which is still growing and has a new leaf. It might stop growing when temperatures cool down, allowing for a cooler and drier winter rest. This plant mostly likely will stay out during the cooler months. This is Dendrobium tortile. I just got it this summer, and it was 2 plants in the same pot, but they have grown relatively well on this mount, pushed 2 new canes on 1 plant, which have just finished growing. 2 more new growths on the other plant, but smaller. They didn't grow so well, and they also seem to have finished its growth. This is a cool grower, and I'll keep it here as long as I can, reducing water but not completely, although no fertilizer at all. And I'll keep it dry till it starts growing again in the spring. This is Dendrobium aphyllum. I got it end of last April. It is not a big plant, and not a very strong one either, and winter months will be the test for it. While in my care, it attempted twice to grow new canes, but they rotted at the base. Maybe my fault. Maybe I kept the moss too wet or too close to the base of the plant. In their natural habitat, these Dendrobium aphyllums experience winter night temperatures, very low night temperatures. So I'll keep it here for the winter, and let's see how it goes. This is Dendrobium fleckeri crossed with Kingianum. I got this plant in March, and by far this is my most vigorous Dendrobium. It grew 6 new canes throughout the summer and has not finished yet. Both parents require a winter rest, but this plant will not get one. Firstly, there are 2 new canes still growing, and now this plant decided to grow a spike, and the flowers are already in bud. This plant gets its spikes from above, out of a sort of a sheath. I had already noticed these slim sheaths. They have been there for a few months doing nothing, and decided to develop now and bloom at this time of the year. This is Dendrobium hibiki, a new addition to my collection, and which is a cross of two species, Dendrobium bracteosum and laevifolium. As a warm grower, hibiki will come to the house for the winter. The watering will be, of course, reduced, but not letting the roots dry completely, according to what is recommended for culture of both parents. And this is it in what concerns my mounted Dendrobium. In order to make it less tedious, I'll bring to the stand the potted Dendrobium in a future video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye!